So it's not paid yet. All right,
That's
thank
right.
you.
Any other questions? No questions? Please, Mike.
You suggested that you're going to use media channels to attract attention of the media. In 2 weeks, you're planning to conduct first event in London. What kind of media channels are you going to attract, and what we're going to see? Television, internet, major networks, etc.
Okay, well, to go back, the first two events, the first two Grand Prix, which were supposed to be in Chelyabinsk and Tashkent, we had no major plans for innovation. Because we only signed the contract 6 months ago, and there's still been a certain amount of uncertainty around it, our plans are to make a big sort of, let's say, a transitional moment during the candidates, which will also be in London in March. We already have, I can talk to you about some of the sponsors that we're talking to, some of the media partners we're talking to, and so on. We can talk about it in private, we can talk about it here. I've already given a number of interviews to the press, so it's as things develop, everyone is going to be aware of them. But I can say that we have heads of terms with one of the major international cable networks to do what I think is going to be a very interesting new product. It's not chess, it's not chess per se, it's about chess. So it'll be a magazine format program, 30 minutes in length, broadcast around the world weekly. That's one example. Obviously, we'll also be working with YouTube. That's obvious. There are a number of absolutely clear and obvious channels that have already expressed interest in working with us simply because it's obvious. It's like falling off a log. There's no. I think I should emphasize that there are no great secrets to what I'm doing. I'm simply applying constant pressure, working very hard on small details, because chess itself is good enough. I'm not trying to improve it.
Yes, Nigel.
Yes, if I'm right, Aegon was formed in January 2012, is that right? Yeah. Can you tell us about the capitalization of Aegon?
Because the events that we're going to be producing are going to be taking place all over the world, my attorney suggested that we set it up in Jersey, which is, of all of the offshore jurisdictions in the world, the most rigorous, the most strong in fighting corruption and money laundering and so on. The reason for this is that there's not any specific headquarters for where we're going to be operating, and this optimizes the tax situation of the entire company. That's the first thing. The second thing is that the company belongs to me. I own 100% of the company, and I assume that will continue to be the case. But if I need to raise money in the future at any point, that will be sorry,
Yeah,
you want to do
the question was about the capitalization of the company, which you haven't answered. Is there any way that we, as the General Assembly, which is, as we know, higher than the Presidential Board, can determine the finances of Aegon? Do we have the possibility?
Sure, you're absolutely welcome to. In fact, by coincidence, Graham, who lives in Jersey, has met the trustees of the company, discussed with them briefly, informally. It was a pure coincidence we were visiting, and has access to my lawyers and to solve the corporate documents. You're welcome to have a look at anything completely.
Any other question? No questions? So then, Mrs. Roth, you want to ask a question? So please then.
the term of the contract?
Who's asking? It's interesting. There have been a number of different reports, but in fact, it's written quite clearly in the contract. It's either 11 or 12 years. I think it's 11 years. 22.
Might I,
11 years.
hello? Might I suggest that perhaps it should be something like a 4-year contract with a review provision?
There's an automatic review provision on an almost quarterly basis based on fulfilling the financial obligations of the contract. That already exists in the contract. There are already a series of very specific ways that FIDE can cancel the contract if I don't meet certain very specific parameters.
Could you describe the financial provisions for the assembly?
Sure, it's in the contract. You can read it yourself, but it basically means that if I owe money, I have to pay it. My obligations are to hold the events in the manner following the rules and regulations and procedures of FIDE in a way that satisfies the interest, which is the committee that was set up under the advice of FIDE's lawyers to deal with the day-to-day operation of the relationship between Agon and FIDE.
I would like to add something on this, Mrs. Ruth. Of course, we have discussed between us, but mainly I suppose you are making the same questions to the General Assembly for better information of the General Assembly. So, if they will not organize one event, the first event, they're out of the contract. This is the first point. The second point is that it's obvious that if they have to pay everything, in 4 years that we are proposing, they have to invest something between 15 to 18 million euros, which, of course, when we had the discussions and the negotiations, is not a period that they can generate this money back. That's why we have to follow their thinking and their estimations, where it was that most probably in the first years they will be struggling to do something. For the next 4 years, maybe they will have balance or start making a little profit, and after the 8 years, they will start making profit. That's why we went to this longer-term contract, where for us, for FIDE, what is the benefit of this, is that for the first time we have secured all our events. First time we have announced World Championship cycle for 4 years. Never happened in the past. Every time we were running to find organizers, we had postponed our events, we were clashing with other organizers. Always we had fights about this, always we have been accused that we cannot have a calendar. First time we have secured events and the dates of these events. This is very important for FIDE because now, of course, we can turn to do other important things than running to find organizers and sponsors. And we have the experience how difficult it is to find organizers for such huge money that FIDE is looking. Yes, please.
One last question. I'm assuming that you're going to be working cooperatively with the national federations.
Well, I think, in fact, I can give you one very concrete example that I can already provide one very concrete example. As the President announced earlier today, we've invested in a series of in-depth research studies of chess playing and chess attitudes and different ways that different people and what kind of people interact with chess in the UK, the US, Germany, Russia, and India. And I think that these are excellent tools that I don't believe in holding back information. I believe in giving it away for free. And we've given access not only to the results of these surveys, but also direct access to the databases generated by YouGov to journalists and to federations, who can then use these statistics to explain to their sponsors, to their partners, about basically numbers that in the past we had no direct access to. We could guess, you could guess, you had vague ideas. But now you have the beginning of a database of information that the federations can use. And if we can provide you with all of our marketing tools, will be themselves in their own activities. I think that's in a first instance, that's what we've already done. But obviously, in country after country that we spend time and money developing for a single event, when we leave, it's very important to us that that country is able to take advantage of the investment that we've made there. I can give you some examples. One is Lisbon. We're very interested in making sure that the Portuguese Chess Federation has the tools and our cooperation for maximizing the benefit to the Portuguese Chess Federation after we've left.
Yes, Mike.
My question to the board: does under this contract, does FIDE has any liabilities?
Well, the contract is based on what Aegon is providing. We are not saying that. The only thing we are saying is we have to read the contract. There are certain things that FIDE has to do, i.e. we have to make sure that the capital cycle rules are correct, the events are correct, the right people at the events, things like that. So our liabilities are on all that side. Sorry, FIDE, in the contract, if you read it here, FIDE's liabilities are mainly in the fact that we have to make sure that we provide them with the correct players, that we provide them the correct way of running the World Championship cycle on that side. We have no financial liability on this side.
Yeah, I asked about financial.
Sorry?
Any financial liabilities?
No, we don't have any financial, if you read the contract, we don't have any financial liabilities unless we fail to provide Aegon with what it needs to run a tournament. If we fail to give them the people for the Grand Prix, they obviously will come to us and say, excuse me, you haven't given us the people for the Grand Prix, therefore we can't hold the Grand Prix. If we don't have regulations to run the candidates, they'll come to us and say, how can we run a candidate when you don't give us? Well, soon it may be for not doing that, you spend money and you haven't produced it. But that's really where our liability is.
Thank you.
You know, coming back to the question of Mrs. Ruth, I would like to say that the principle for FIDE is that they should work with our federations. They should cooperate very close with our federations. And the truth is that when we're talking with them, every time we say, okay, please, you want to organize an event there, speak with the president of that federation. Unfortunately, there are others that they are advising not to speak with the federations. This is the problem. And this is not FIDE who is doing this. I don't want to refer now to names and all this, but I believe he will learn from the experience that he should speak with our federations. It's very important to speak with our federations.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Alex.
The same comment like what Mrs. Hearing said and you seconded. I would like to give a message to Mr. Paulson for Agon that first priority should be the National Federation. And if the National Federation doesn't want to cooperate, of course I can understand this, but we shouldn't create competition with our national federations in their territory. And it's like, there is nothing written, but it's coming from the statutes as respecting them. This should be somehow like in the minutes, like a request of General Assembly to Mr. Agon to be careful with this.
If I can just answer, Ali, for me that absolutely goes without saying. I couldn't imagine the situation being any way other. And I think that slowly over the last 6 months, I've gotten to know step by step a number of the presidents of various national federations, you included. And I think the relations are good. And it takes time. I can't meet everybody all at once. But for me, it's absolutely obvious that the local knowledge in every country, not only can I benefit them, but they can benefit me. I don't see any conceivable downside to having a very close relationship with each chess federation, each national federation.
Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah, just on a positive note, I'd like to say that Andrew Paulson has been working with the English Chess Federation, even coming up to Leicester on one occasion, meeting with various board members. But I have another point. I see in the contract there are provisions for the termination of the contract based on financial, not provision of finances, but there are no provisions for terminating the contract based on performance. So if we're not happy, we as FIDE are not happy with what you're doing.
Can you give me an example of what I might do that would make you unhappy?
Well, there are various things. I mean, just the way events are organised. You know, I don't know exactly what you're going to do. So
one of my favourite one of my favourite YouTube clips is I believe it's a competition between you and Garrett, where there's very, very loud disco music and rising sound and light things in a disco, in a nightclub. I don't think I'll go that far. If that's okay for you, I think you're safe. I know, but
tremendous
tremendous
publicity, and it did a lot. In fact, it launched Rapid Chess, that particular match, back in 1987. So that was the thing. Okay, Rapid Chess
I'll
existed.
do it.
Okay, get the discos.
Disco is okay.
Just, who knows?
There's another question. No other question. So, thank you very much. Thank you, Andrew. So then, I would like to. If there is any other comment concerning the contract? Any other comment concerning the contract? No. Yes, Thomas.
Thank you. That actually would be a question or comment to feed the board. Because I believe that what Andrew has proposed is very important. We need this commercial attitude into chess, and chess, I believe, can be commercialized. And I very much welcome to have a matured, experienced businessman involved in chess. We need that. Also, believe that he's a chess lover. If he's watching YouTube clips with chess players playing, he must be a chess lover, which is even better. That's great. But we give the license for 11 years to the company which was created a couple of months ago, and as far as we just heard, there is a certain possibility of breach of contract because this $500,000 was due in April. We are ratifying, as there is a provision in the contract that we need to ratify this contract today, and there is no financial responsibility to FIDE. And if you are signing for 11 years, there is a lot of goodwill which we want to have, there is a lot of trust needed, and I would just like to have this trust. So I would very much welcome a good explanation from FIDE which would excuse Mr. Paulson not giving this $500,000 to our account in April. Thank you.
Okay, I can tell you what was his explanation. We signed a contract where he supposed that he should start working. He has 2 events that suppose that he can organize in Russia. He is losing these 2 events. Immediately he's facing an attack from a federation for this contract, that there is a proposal not to accept this contract. People that they are, at the same time they are attacking him, they are asking money for him to stop attacking him. He faced a situation that he said, okay, what is this organization? You are a serious organization. Why I should spend $500,000? I'm spending many days to organize the tournament in London. This I cannot avoid. This cost, this I will pay. Why I should pay another $500,000 when I can find myself tomorrow in this General Assembly where you have such people that are not there. I personally, I can understand this, you know. I can understand this, you understand? So, I have agreed with, of course I prefer if the money was in our accounts, and the truth is that we exactly, because the reason to feel secure to have this deposit of $500,000, but I can understand his point also, when we say, okay, don't worry, in the beginning we can help you with this event, the other event, the contract will send to be ratified in the assembly, and he was facing all these problems. That was our responsibility somehow to solve. So, what Mr. Andrew has promised is that if we ratify the contract, immediately will come the money. If he doesn't pay the money, the contract is not valid. He's losing the contract. So what else? So I'm proposing. You don't want to make it. So I'm proposing really to approve this contract, ratify this contract, because really it's very important for FIDE at this moment. I explained before, it's the first time in our history where our events for the World Championships Recycle, very expensive events, they have been guaranteed, very expensive events. First time it happens in our history to have somebody who can guarantee this event. I understand that somebody who is going to invest such a huge money, he's not expecting even to get his money back in the first 6-8 years. So that's why I think it's completely logical that the contract will not be less than 10, 11 years. They were asking more, much more, I must tell you, and we said, no, this is not possible. Based on your calculations, you think that you should get this risk, that the contract will be only 11 years. So I'm asking the Assembly to accept the contract that FIDE has approved, that their board has already approved. Yes, we agreed before, I don't know, you were not here, that first we have to decide if we ratify the contract, and then we go to your process. We agreed before in the General Assembly. So, there is any objection to approve the contract? Objection. One from Mr. Daniel, 2. 3. So please raise your hand. All those that they are objecting this contract. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Who is in favor of approving the contract? Please raise your hand. Thank you. Abstentions, there are, please. Abstentions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So, the contract has been approved by the General Assembly. Now we are going to the next point was Annex 12 and 12A. So there is a recommendation, correct? You recommend that the bid was valid, the decision of FIDE was correct, based on the analysis that you gave before, correct or not?
Yeah, we stated in our findings, based on the documentation that was provided to us, there were 3 legitimate bidders. We outlined the timeline for the various processes of the bidding procedure, and we also commented on the obvious that should the General Assembly fail to ratify the contract, then you will have to reopen the bidding procedure.
There's any comment? Comments? Yes.
Look, most of the time I was thinking to vote in favor of this contract. But in the last minute, I changed my mind because of two reasons. First of all, I think that the protest of the Bulgarian Chess Federation should have dealt before. Even if this was a decision, this was a wrong decision. First of all, you have to deal with the process against the whole idea, and then if it is dismissed, then you can go on to the voting on the contract itself. This is the way of handling such things. And the second reason was, at the very last moment, is the way of handling the voting. I think that first of all, Mr. Chairman, you had to ask who is in favor of the contract, and only then who is against. The order is not correct. You don't ask who is against and then who is in favor. Thank you.
I want to remind you, Mr. Bush, that I start trying to go first with the appeal, if you remember here. That's why I gave the floor to Alan to speak about the appeal. And what it came out is that their decision is based on the fact if we ratify this contract or not for them. They say if we approve, then it's obvious that the decision is correct. That's why I had to move. I asked myself, I had to move to the contract. This is what happened exactly. You are right that normally we should ask who is in favor, but because on that moment I was asking who are the objections, I saw only two. And I was pushing to see if there are other objections. It happens to count in a moment that okay, those that are against, there was 6 or 7. Because I was trying to find that there are not only 2. I was thinking that there should be more. So I was trying to wake up those that they were a little bit sleeping, let's say, and they were not like you, ready to support the contract, but they want to be against. So because of me, actually, we counted there was 6 or 7 and not 2. So then there is other comment. No comment. Theodore, sorry, as which delegate?
I'm not delegate, just observer and secretary of the Press Commission. Just one thing I have to say. It's very nice today. From the morning, we see Guy Kasparov, we see CNC to make presentation now, a real business like Mr. Paulson coming here. We have the contract, we discuss it. Everybody can vote for this. This is transparency. This is what I want. And we don't have to fight these people. We need all these people. So just I want to say thank you, Mr. Paulson, to Mr. Kasparov today that he did for everybody. We have to continue like this. Let's help one each other to grow.
I think what the member of the board of European board is referring here is actually your decision, Mr. Museas, treasurer and your president of Europe. When you brought a contract from nowhere, nobody knew from the board what is going on. You present there, we have no time to read anything. You made a decision to bring to the General Assembly. You never brought to the General Assembly. You were hiding the contract, and now you are fighting a contract that is so long time published. There have been many discussions with our board members. All the inputs is in this contract. Everything is clear here, and you are fighting this contract. It's unbelievable. I mean, somebody in one moment, he should feel a little bit ashamed when he's coming to fight FIDE for things that he never dreamed that he could do to be in such a transparent situation. Yes, Mr.
I'm not fighting against FIDE. I didn't say any word against the contract. I told you, I told the General Assembly what were the reasons to change my mind in the last moment. Speaking about the contract we brought to the ECU board, it is not stipulated in the ECU statutes that we have to bring such contract